When you sit in this thing and you look around, you get plenty of visibility, just kind of like an old Land Cruiser. Welcome to Texas Truck Channel, and I'm Craig. Brian is not here with me today, but we're at a special place right behind me. You can see, that looks like a Land Cruiser grill. And over here you'll see a bunch of really cool old Land Cruisers. That's because we've got something really special for you today. And what is that? That is the all new, it's returned, it's been gone for 3 years. Last model year was in 2021. We've got it back, the Land Cruiser. This is what we're getting in the States. This is what we've been waiting for, and it is back. It'll be a 2024 model coming out in late spring. So let's just talk about it. This thing's really cool. This is the actual 1958 edition. We'll have another model we'll be reviewing later. Check out the video for that, stay tuned. But this one's pretty cool. This is a special edition model. There'll only be 5,000 of these. And one of the things that's unique, let's just start right up front. Let's just talk about the styling. That is, we get the nice round headlights. So we saw a lot of teaser images when this was coming out, and they showed the FJ60 series, and people were in FJ40 series, and people saw the round headlights, like, well, what's that gonna be? And then they showed one that had square headlights, and people were confused. It looked like the FJ60 series. So we kind of get both. So the 1958 edition, we get the round headlights, we get the homage to that. And here's what I like about this one. This one's kind of the poverty spec. People always complain about the old Land Cruiser, and we never get the poverty spec in the 200 series, the 100 series here in the States. We get it here with this one. I like the front. It's got a really good presence. I like that the Toyota block lettering is there. That looks really good. And you get an approach angle of 31 degrees, which is actually really good and better than some previous models we've had of late. And this one's cool. It's just simple, straightforward, and basic. It's kind of the traditional boxy look. Nothing too crazy, nothing too wild. You get regular tires, more on that in a second, but you still get fog lights, you get functional things. This is very form meets function design, and I like it a lot. Yes, it's similar to possibly the Tacoma and the GX550 that recently released, because this is based on the TNGA-F architecture. So they all kind of share the same platform and that sort of thing, but more on that in a minute. Let's move on to the tires. The tires here we get, this comes with a Dunlop Grand Trek, and this is clearly a highway tire. Again, this is the poverty spec, so we're not looking to go crazy off-road here, but we do get double wishbone suspension. Looks very similar to maybe some Tacoma stuff, so which means there'll be a lot of aftermarket supports. What that means, that is really good news. Not so sure about the wheel design. Let us know what y'all think, but I do like how they've done the kind of squared off shelf-like wheel opening. I think that looks good. Makes it look a little more meaner, a little boxier. And the best part is this right here, this trim here will not scratch when you're going off-road, which helps a lot. Speaking of off-road, it's a little narrower. It's much narrower than the 200 series, the outgoing 200 series, and the current 300 series that's sold across the rest of the globe. So what that means we get better off-road performance. Let's check out the fuel cap, because Brian really cares about that. So we have to release it from here. It's locked. We hit that button and it opens, and it does have a fuel cap as expected, and we kind of knew that. The good news though is it doesn't require premium, and that's going to be really nice for a lot of people that are looking to buy this. One of the problems with the old one, I know there's going to be some upset people because it's not the 200 series, it's not the 300 series, but what this is a much more approachable Land Cruiser for more people, and that is a good thing. I'm going to show you something else back here on the rear, the suspension. We get a multi-link suspension, or a 5-link. They call it a multi-link, which means we get coils, which means we're going to get a good ride, is what it means. So very traditional, very similar. You've seen that on Tacomas. Kind of the same thing going on here. This is going to be an interesting design to see how it plays out in the marketplace. What I'm really excited about is the accessory marketplace. The old Land Cruiser, there were so few sold, and it didn't share parts with a lot of other things. It was hard to get stuff for it. This one's going to be much better with that. More on the tire, because I kind of skipped that earlier. Let's see what we're working with here. This is a skinny tire. We got a 245/70/18. This is the smallest wheel you can get on the new Land Cruiser, is an 18, because you get pretty big brakes. Look at the brakes in there. A little bit of a pizza cutter action here in the back, but we do get big brakes front and rear for plenty of stopping power. Again, this is a highway tire designed for comfort and low noise, but I'm sure there'll be some upgrades there. It looks like there's plenty of room to fit something maybe a little bit bigger. Speaking of the wheels. We get some lining, so it's going to be pretty quiet. It's not going to be too loud, even though it is a poverty spec. Now, this particular part right here, this wheelbase, it may look very familiar here, and for you Land Cruiser fans, that is a really big deal, because that wheelbase is called the Land Cruiser Golden Ratio. Started with the 80 series, which is what everybody claims is the best one ever. Look, I'm not going to argue with them because I just had one, sold it, and already regret it. But here's what that means: is that's 112.2 inches, because they say that's the best ratio for approach angles, breakover angles, and departure angles. So let's move on to the back and see what we get back here. We get a nice big hitch cover. I'm sure that comes off and you can get to the hitch for towing. This is good for 6,000 pounds towing, and you get your 4-way and 8-way back here. Shouldn't be a problem. So now let's get under the hood and see what's powering this right here. All right, time to get under the hood. Let's see what we've got. And there we go. This is the iForce Max 2.4 liter turbo hybrid is what this is, and we've seen this before. It may look familiar to you. We've seen that in Tacoma and Hawaii. That this is good for 326 horsepower and, hang on a second here, 465 pound-feet of torque. Yes, 465 pound-feet of torque. The battery that it's connected to, which is sandwiched in between the motor and then transmission, is good for 48 horsepower alone just by itself. What that does and what that means is we get all the hybrid goodness of extra fuel economy, but we also just get the added bonus of performance. It's going to help with towing. It's like making the turbo even better is what it does. We all like it when we added turbos because we get more boost and more power when we want it. We also get a hybrid bump along with that now. So don't think Prius hybrid, the old Prius hybrid, were maybe not as exciting. This is going to be exciting. It's going to have plenty of power and plenty when you want it. So much similar, very similar to the Tacoma we saw earlier. You get your intake going down there, which feeds what we like to see, the big, massive turbo, which is all we care about. All these fun things mean don't touch it, take it to a specialist. It means it's hybrid. And then you'll notice, like we talked about in the Tacoma, no big clutch fan here. When you start this bad boy up, it's not going to be really loud and annoying like some old ones in the past, but plenty of cooling, not going to be an issue there. You can see it's a fully boxed frame. This is not going to be anything to worry about. All you Land Cruiser loyalists, this thing is plenty stout. In fact, it is so stout, they say that the rigidity of this is 20% greater than the outgoing 200 series. And a lot of people said the 200 series was the best one they made. Everybody's got their favorite ones. More on that later. All right, time to check out the interior of the all-new Land Cruiser that we're getting here in the States. Before we get in the back though, let's look at the styling back here. You get the block lettering, the Toyota going across, and the Land Cruiser right there. It doesn't say Prado, it doesn't say 250, or it doesn't say 300, or GX550, or 4Runner. It's a Land Cruiser. So yes, your keyboard warriors, I know you're gonna light it up and say it's not a real Land Cruiser, but I'm telling you it is. Let's check it out. Before we get in the back though, see the iForce Max, which means that's what we get in everything. No options there. Hit this button here. We've seen this before in the GX460s or the Land Cruiser Prados. I like this. You get a split window, you can reach in. Yes, gone is a tailgate, but we get the split hatch, and that's very helpful and very convenient. So we've seen this before, but I don't have a problem with this. I think it looks good. All right, let's lift up that hatch. Got a little button here. It's not auto. Again, this is the poverty spec, so it's just manual. Everything works. Nothing's too fancy, and I like this spec. This is a really cool spec. All right, back here we get plenty of storage. We get interesting storage back here, but no rear seat. Kind of interesting. That may change. This is a pre-pro, so that may change. There's a little bit of storage back here. You can roll this up, but there's not a whole lot down there. So but plenty of space back here, and you can cover it, hide your goodies, whatever it is you are lugging along. So the good news is, again, there will be plenty of aftermarket support, I'm sure, for trays that will come out for storage and that sort of thing. Before we move on though, I want to point this out. Because it's a hybrid max, yes, I know some of y'all don't like hybrids, but look at this. We get 2,400 watts. We can plug something in here and power it. That's going to power a lot of different things. What I love about that is so many people were getting Land Cruisers and putting these battery systems in there and red arc systems, and I'm sure that's still going to happen with this. This comes right out of the box with plenty of power. You can power a lot of things. That's really neat. All right, moving on to the second row, let's check out the door here. Again, this is a basic spec and it works. What I like about this is the best part. Any door, first thing we test, you can put your phone in there and it doesn't fall. Like that a lot. Room for your bottles right here. It even says put your bottle there, so you got 2 spots. Not a problem, pretty basic. And look at this texture of the seat. This looks very durable. Looks like it's gonna This looks like this could end up in a Land Cruiser museum 100 years from now and people would still really like it. That's pretty cool. Seats themselves do fold, and then you can get even more storage or access to back. Oh, there's a little storage cubby back there with some more tools that come with it, and your battery is back there. That is what that is hiding. So let's put the seat back down, pull that back up, and recline it. Okay, let's see what kind of room we have. You can see there's a decent amount of room. That seat is definitely pushed back, so I want to sit in there, see what kind of room we have. And it's not bad. We have a decent amount of room. I'm actually gonna recline it up a little bit because it's back, but this is comfortable, and I've got plenty of headroom in here. I wish Brian was here because we could show you that even he would actually fit in this thing. We do get a center armrest, which works. It doesn't flop on the floor. It actually sits up. That is nice. And then back here, oh, this is the best part. The Tacoma didn't get this. The Land Cruiser does get this. Thank goodness. We get rear AC. We get traditional outlet right there. We also get USB-C, USB-C. It's time to upgrade, boys and girls. Just go ahead and do it. You get a map pocket back here and a map pocket back here because look, this is a Land Cruiser. You're going to be exploring. You need maps because that's what this thing is designed for. But look at the headroom I have in here. There's plenty of room in here. And one of the reasons we get so much room in here is because this is a poverty spec one. We don't have any moonroof, pano, none of that business encroaching on your headroom, and I like this. They need to make more interiors like this. This is a pretty cool spec. Let's move on to the front. Alrighty, moving on to the front. Let's see what we got here. Let's open the door and check out the door. We get, as expected, we get a door pocket for a water bottle and maps down there. And let's do the old cell phone test in the handle and see if that works. It does. It doesn't fall through. They thought that through. That's very nice. And then, of course, your window controls. Moving into the front. Look, same deal up here. It's traditional. It's old school. It's durable. It's going to work. That's not a problem. Manual adjustable seats, I have no problem with that. Let's see if we can get a good seating position. All right, getting in here, let's see, it's getting me about where I need to be. I'm a little far up. Oh, plenty of adjustability. I can go this pretty far back and very far forward. Depending on long legs, short legs, you're gonna have plenty of room here. Let's see, oh, look at this. You get a telescoping steering wheel. Comes in and out pretty far and pretty good travel. Interesting set of gauges here. I'm not going to start up. They told me not to start it up, but see if we can get an accessory mode and see if that shows me anything. Let's see here. Okay, there's accessory mode. Okay, so we can see the gauge and see what it looks like. So you can see here, at least in this current mode, I'll turn the AC off. In this current mode, it looks pretty neat. It's got eco and power, again, because it's a hybrid max, so you're going to have those things there. And then you can toggle through a lot of things here. Let's see what we can toggle through. So we get our navigation, music, electric boost gauge. That's pretty cool. Shows you what the electric's doing. And then you can change all your options and settings there. Let's see if there's any other. And then you can toggle through left and right, fuel mileage and that sort of thing. No fuel mileage numbers on this yet. But then outside of that digital display, you get gauges that just stay there all the time. Your temperature gauge, your fuel gauge, those don't go away. Those just stay there. That's really nice. You get nice circular vents that adjust left and right with the center dial, and that's going to be fully adjustable to put wherever you want. In the center, we get two more, and they open and close the same way. You get the smaller screen in this one. You don't get the large 12.3, but look, this one works, and you get plenty of visibility. When you sit in this thing and you look around, you get plenty of visibility, just kind of like an old Land Cruiser. It's a little less fishbowl-y than an 80 series, but it's definitely easier to see out of than the previous 200 series. Pretty good visibility, especially to the sides. A little bit less visibility out front because that's a tall hood and kind of hard to see out of, but it works. And again, plenty of headroom in here. You can wear a cowboy hat in this sucker. In the center stack, we get HVAC controls, we get dual zone climate control. Even in the poverty spec, we get USB-C, 3 different versions of it. Not sure what's going on there. 2 to charge, 1 probably to interact with the display. We get some toggles here that are not available in this particular option. And then we get our drive modes. We do get drive modes in all the models. You can select those, and you get eco, normal, or sport in this particular one. And then let's see. Oh, you also get, you can start in second. This has been around for a long time in Land Cruisers. You can start in your second gear, or you can put it in crawl control mode. That's all pretty neat. Moving on down, you get an electronic parking brake. traction control buttons. You get a no button here, and you get a center diff lock, which we've had in all the Land Cruisers since the 2001 Land Cruiser. But what we haven't had in a Land Cruiser since 1999 or 2000, y'all will correct me on the 100 series, a rear locker. Look at that, a selectable electronic rear locker. That's really important. That's a big deal. And like we've had in Land Cruisers for a long time here in the States, it's full-time auto, and you can only switch, but it does have a transfer case. You can go into low 4. So with that, that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. We've got more coming your way, and lots of goodies and lots of information. We're going to talk about this on the podcast as well, and we've also got another model we're going to review as well. Let us know what you think about the Land Cruiser. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Do you wish it was a 300 series? Do you like the approach and the strategy here? Last thing for you, pricing. This thing is going to be in the mid-50s. That was the problem with the old one. It was $80,000 to $90,000, and it was a luxury boat that nobody was buying, let's be honest, and so Toyota quit making it. This is going to be more affordable for the masses. They're going to sell more of these. It does beg the question, what about the 4Runner? We don't have information on that, and no one's telling us, and we'll be speculating on that a lot. Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. If you don't do that, we can't make more of these, and when you do that, we get to make more of these. So thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.